بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه أما بعد. Traveling back in history to observe and be one of the grateful servants to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by remembering the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon us. In the 17th of Ramadan morning time, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had already have the companion in a row ready for the battle. It was the 17th of Ramadan, the 17th of Ramadan, in the morning, and it was the year 2 Hijri. And today we are in the night of the 17th. And the believer, we should ask ourselves, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded us, instructed us to remember the favor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon us. Most of the people, when they think about the favor, they think about the physical favor, the tangible favor, the worldly life favors. The greatest of the favor that will continue its blessing to the end of time. And that's what the Prophet ﷺ taught us, and that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructed us. And then the first thing, in brief summary, to remind ourselves of this great legacy, great favor, and what is our mission, our purpose, our, let's say, duty to do to carry on the legacy of the Prophet ﷺ. The legacy of a day that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave it a specific name, a day that it becomes synonym of truth, of justice, and of, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Al-Furqan. Al-Furqan is the way how you make demarcation, separation between the truth and the falsehood. That day, Allah called it Al-Furqan. So Allah's gift upon us to have the Battle of Badr, had it not been Battle of Badr, none of us will be here. Remember, had it not been the Battle of Badr, none of us will be here. We'll have ancestors, kuffar, children of kuffar, offspring of kuffar, thrown wal-iyadu billah in hellfire. That's what it means. That's what it means. If Ghazwat Badr didn't happen, all of us will have been come from an offspring of ungrateful and will be only serving for the fuel of hellfire. To see, subhanAllah, the great favor of the Ghazwa of Badr. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he made a dua like Umar ibn Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala and he said, in the day of the 17th of Ramadan, in the battlefield, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam looked at his companions, they were around 300 and a few. And he looked at the disbeliever and they were like more than 1,000. And he said, Ya Allah, أنجز لي ما وعدت. Fulfill to me your promise, Ya Allah. The most shocking, the next dua, he said, Ya Allah, إن تهلك هذه العصابة من أهل الإسلام فلا تعبد في الأرض أبدا. Ya Allah, if this group of Muslims, today they will be perished, you will not gonna be worshipped on earth ever. That's what it means. Because if Badr, it happened in a defeat, no worship of Allah could have happened after that. All of us will be where? Fuel of hellfire. If if Allah will for us to exist. Now, the dua of the Prophet ﷺ was not the beginning. It was the peak and the end of all the effort. And that's the very important legacy that we need to learn. The Prophet ﷺ making dua in the battlefield to the point stretching out his hand, and he was ﷺ pleading so hard to the point that the cloak or the abaya he has on his shoulder, that it fell. Abu Bakr came and put it back on his shoulder and he said, Ya Rasulullah, make it easy on yourself. By Allah, Allah is going to fulfill for you His promise. And this is, if you take a step back, just to understand this great legacy that we need to carry on. The first thing, what was the intent of the most merciful subhanahu wa ta'ala, is to establish the truth and uproot disbelief and uproot the falsehood. لِيُحِقَّ الْحَقَّ وَيُبْتِلَ الْبَاطِلَ. The companion Ridwanullahi ta'ala alayhim, they didn't even intend to have a fight. But when they came out, they came to the caravan, so they get some spoils and leave. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called, Allah is promising you one of is either you're going to get the caravan, the spoils, what is your own money that has been confiscated and been taken from you from Mecca, or you're going to have the shahada and you're going to have the triumph, the victory. قال وتودون أن غير ذات الشوكة تكون لكم, and you are wishing that the unarmed clan or company will be you from your part. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put it in a very profound word. He said غير ذات الشوكة. غير, you were seeking, desiring, intending, hoping that you will have غير, the one that it does not have shawka. Even he mentioned shawka, something that poke, which is the sword. So he didn't say you were avoiding or not liking the battle. He said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala till subhanallah resonate into your ears and trembling, making your heart tremble, because you're going to see the shawka. Shawka is something to stab, to slay. You were not wishing, hoping to have that. غَيْرَ ذَاتِ الشَّوْكَةِ. And then subhanallah, when in our life, you act and you work and you strive for your action, your desire, your hope will meet Allah's intent into your life. That's when you succeed. That's when you succeed. This is the most important part of this legacy. Because if the companion that get the caravan, so all what they're going to collect from the caravan, from camels and everything, it will have ended in their time. For us will not get any benefit. Therefore, what they have seen as a hardship at that time, to lose your life, their life, to fight and to strive, it was Allah's intent, because Allah's blessing, that this blessing will continue to the end of time. To see this legacy. That's why it's the Furqan. That's why it's the Furqan. Now, the Prophet ﷺ was preparing the companion Ridwanullahi ta'ala alayhim. So what was the condition? The condition was that all the hearts will united, to be conform with the intent of Allah. That's why the Prophet ﷺ gathered them and he said, Ashiru alayhi, tell me what I should do. And then all of them, they united with the Prophet ﷺ. There is a lot of details, but inshallah you can read it and study it. All of them united on one heart. What the Prophet ﷺ said, he said, go ahead and have the glad tidings. That's it. It's done. Then in our life, if whatever you desire, check it. If it's conform with Allah's intent, then be sure you have to be rejoicing. Push yourself to be happy, because you have fulfilled the condition. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called in Surah At-Tawbah, before even, this is when you complete your covenant with the truthfulness, when you're true to your covenant, قَالَ فَاسْتَبْشِرُوا بِبَيْعِكُمُ الَّذِي بَيْعَ. You have to rejoice this covenant, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give you everything He's promised you. Now, when they come to one heart, then they fulfill the condition. What is the second condition? When you desire, meet Allah's intent in your purpose of your life. What is the next one? Is to show humility to Allah. That was the Prophet, what was he doing in the battle of Badr. After fulfilling all the conditions, he started to make the dua. You don't make the dua and you didn't make any step in your life to be a better person. That is not going to work. After all you do your effort and you come to the end of the effort, that's when you're making dua. And look the Prophet ﷺ, how he was making the dua. And he was, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, putting the point on a very important aspect, which is the ubudiyyah. Ya Allah, if this group will die and will be perished, you will not be able to be worshipped. And Allah, the most merciful, all what He loves Allah, for this servant of His to worship Him. Therefore, there is no way that Allah will leave the Muslim to be defeated with such hearts united. Now, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knew what is in the heart of the believers, united, then the humility of His Prophet ﷺ to begging him and pleading him, what he said, إِذْ تَسْتَغِيثُونَ رَبَّكُمْ فَاسْتَجَابَ لَكُمْ. Behold, you are seeking and help from your Lord, pleading and beseeching, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answered you. Now, listen very careful in the answer of Allah. When Allah answers your dua, when you bring all the conditions and you fulfill them, then subhanAllah, everything is guaranteed to you. Allah sent the angels 1,000. Why He sent the 1,000 angels? Remember, why He sent this 1,000 angels? Did He send them to help the believer to win? No. He sent them for the believer to feel good, to feel comfort in their heart, to take away their stress. He sent down the rain, a special rain for the people of Badr, special rain to purify them, to strengthen their heart, to make firm their feet. And to get all that shaitan whispering and pain that he's putting in their heart, to cleanse it. The next one, and the most, subhanallah, profound and amazing and shocking for us today when you think about it. Who was the commander of the fight? Who was the commander of the fight? Allah. Allah was the commander of the fight. The Prophet is making dua in Al-Arish. Allah, إذ يوحي ربك إلى الملائكة أني معكم فثبتوا الذين آمنوا سألقي في قلوب الذين كفروا الرعب فاضربوا فوق الأعناق واضربوا منهم كل بنان. The order coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because all the condition, united heart, humility, and your hope and your desire and your intent is conformed to the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you want to establish the truth and you want to uproot the falsehood. If you do that, wallahi, Allah will do the same thing as He did for His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For this reason, the whole core of the dua that you make is how you ask Allah to be closer to Him, more submitting to Him. That ubudiyyah is the key of your happiness. That ubudiyyah is the key of your heart assurance and comfort. That ubudiyyah is the key of your prosperity, is the key of your success. And I finish with 2 examples. When your dua is conformed to Allah's intent, Allah will give it to you right there. Yusuf alayhi salam, what he said, Ya Allah, save me from the cunning of this woman. He saved him right away. فَاسْتَجَبْنَا لَهُ. When Musa alayhi salam, he was asking dua in the same line of the intent of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, said, قَالَ رَبِّ اشْرَحْ لِي صَدْرِي وَيَسِّرْ لِي أَمْرِي وَاحْلُلْ عُقْدَةً مِّن لِّسَانِي يَفْقَهُوا قَوْلِي وَاجْعَل لِّي وَزِيرًا مِّنْ أَهْلِي هَارُونَ أَخِي أَشْدُدْ بِهِ أَزْرِي وَأَشْرِكْهُ فِي أَمْرِي. All of that. In the end of the dua, what he said? قَدْ أُوتِيتَ سُؤْلَكَ يَا مُوسَى. You got it. Why? Because the heart is ready, the humility is there, and the intent is conformed to what Allah wants from you to do. That is the legacy of Badr. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us be a good believer to carry on this legacy. وَجَزَاكُمُ اللَّهُ خَيْرًا وَإِلَى الصَّلَاةِ يَرْحَمُكُمُ اللَّهُ.